Hi guys and welcome to MotorBeam. The Indian automotive market is one of the biggest ones and also one of the toughest ones in the entire world. A lot of automakers have been selling cars over here since years, and yet so many of them haven't been able to crack this market's pulse. In this video, we'll be talking about General Motors. GM has had a story full of ups and downs in India. When they first entered India in the early 1990s with the Opel brand, they used to sell cars like the Astra and the Corsa. Initially, Opel cars were selling in decent numbers, but later, owners started facing maintenance issues and competitors were also coming out with better products. Sales of the Opel brand started falling massively and General Motors had to discontinue the Opel brand from the Indian market. Later, General Motors launched the Chevrolet brand in India in the early 2000s, and the initial cars were the Optra sedan, the Tavera MPV and the Spark hatchback. Later, they got the Beat, the Cruise, the Enjoy, the Captiva and the Aveo. They also got the Sail siblings, while the Trailblazer came and left without anyone noticing. It was in May 2017 when General Motors officially announced that they would be stopping their India operations by the end of the year. Here are 5 reasons why General Motors failed to capture the Indian automotive market. Before we get started, I'll tell you one fun fact about General Motors that will definitely leave you startled. During the World War II, General Motors shifted their entire production assembly line to manufacture goods that were needed by the Allies. They used to produce aeroplanes, machine guns, trucks, tanks and even shells. At number 5, we'll be talking about the management of General Motors in India. Any company's success directly depends on the people running the show, but sadly the management of GM in India left a lot to be desired. When I spoke to different people of the industry, I always heard that the style of working in this company is very bureaucratic and people don't take leadership or long-term decisions. What is interesting and amusing is the fact that in 21 years of their operations in India, General Motors went through 9 different CEOs. If my memory serves me right, Maruti Suzuki has had just 5 CEOs in the entire duration of 35 years in India. Because of so many changes in the corporate structure, people failed to follow a proper long-term strategy. At number 4, we'll be talking about the dealership network of General Motors in India. Any good product requires a good dealership network to be sold through, while any good dealership network requires a good product in its portfolio. In their good days, General Motors used to have more than 400 dealerships in India, but then a lot of things started happening. Sales were falling, customers were unhappy with their experience with the brand, and dealerships were unhappy with the product lineup offered by the company, which is why the dealership count went from 400 to 200. A lot of dealerships started ditching General Motors and they moved out to different brands. At number 3, we'll be talking about the poor customer experience offered by this automaker. In 20 years of operations, they launched more than 20 cars and they withdrew more than 10 of them from the market. Their cars were priced from Rs 3 lakhs to Rs 30 lakhs, and because of the frequent changes to the product portfolio, the resale value of these cars started falling. The reliability of these cars was anyway not the best, which is why customers had good enough reasons to not come back to the brand. If you are a Chevrolet owner, please don't get offended, because you know what? Even I had 2 Chevrolet cars in my garage. I bought a Spark and then I bought a Beat, both in the same color. I had such a poor experience with the service centers every time that I used to hate sending my car there, and I always preferred aftermarket garages. Now we'll be talking about the old technology offered by General Motors in India. Let's face it, GM cars used to have old platforms and old engines, and barely any car from the portfolio met modern standards. In fact, there were some GM cars which barely managed to pass emission tests, and the quality of their cars was only worsening with time. Long-term reliability was never a forte of General Motors, and at the same time, competitors were coming out with better products and more modern technology and features. At number 1, we'll be talking about the biggest reason why GM failed to create a mark in the Indian market. That is the products. Look at the global portfolio of General Motors. You get so many good and tempting cars. However, look at the cars that were launched in India. Most of them were rebadged Devu cars. Honestly, out of all these cars, it was only the Cruise which managed to create some sort of fan following for itself. The Beat, Cruise and Tavera were the highest selling cars for General Motors in India. When the Beat first arrived in the market, it came across as a very good looking car. But then you know what happened? General Motors continued selling this car for so many years without giving it any major update. The Tavera was such a popular MPV, but then again you know what happened. General Motors screwed up on the emissions front and more than 1.2 lakh cars were affected. This was a bit similar to the Volkswagen emission scandal. The Chevrolet Cruze was known for its performance and quality. But then modern cars like the Volkswagen Jetta, the Hyundai Elantra and the Skoda Octavia came and ate its market while General Motors was just watching. In 2010, General Motors had a market share of 6% in India, but later this share fell to 1%. In 2015, the automaker made a decision to work on their market share and increase it to 3% by 2020. The overall market grew by 9%, but this company's share fell to less than 1%. At the 2016 Auto Expo, General Motors showcased a variety of cars like the Beat Active, the Beat Essentia and a lot of cars from the global portfolio. In 2017, they even sent out invites for the media drive of the new Beat just days before announcing the shutdown of their operations. Needless to say, this drive never happened. So these were the top 5 reasons why General Motors never succeeded in India. In May 2017, they announced the shutdown of their local operations. General Motors had 2 plants in India, one at Talegaon in Pune and the other one at Halol in Gujarat. The Gujarat plant was taken over by MG Motor, while the Talegaon plant is likely to be acquired by Great Wall Motors. All this while, GM was manufacturing cars at the Talegaon plant and exporting it to different markets. So what was the aftermath of General Motors leaving India? Well, service centers were nowhere to be found, spare parts started becoming an issue and the already poor resale value went for a complete toss. I sold my Spark for 70,000 and my Beat for 80,000. Honestly, it was very sad to see an automaker leaving the Indian auto market, which is the second biggest in the world. There's a lot of potential over here and companies just need to understand the requirements and the sentiments of Indian buyers and come up with quick and long-term decisions. There is a lot of competition in the Indian auto market, which is good news for customers but bad news for some companies. Thank you so much guys for watching this video. Do hit the like button and subscribe to the MotorBeam channel. Do let me know in the comment section below if you think there are more reasons why General Motors did not succeed in India. Goodbye and take care.